Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Good evening. You're watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. First, the headlines. On behalf of His Majesty Sultan Qaboos, His Highness Sayyid As'ad bin Tariq Al Saeed participates in the final session of the Arab Summit in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt. The Sultanate in the 26th Arab Summit emphasizes the importance of solidarity and constructive dialogue to come up with compatible solutions to deal with problems being witnessed by the region. The Sultanate's celebrations continue on the occasion of His Majesty the Sultan's safe return to the homeland. And a number of agreements worth more than 100 million Omani riyals are signed to implement projects of paving interior roads in the Sultanate. Good evening once again, and thank you for joining us. Those were the headlines, and now the news in details. His Majesty Sultan Qaboos has received more cables of greetings on His Majesty's blessed return to the homeland, safe and healthy. They were from His Royal Highness Prince Charles of Wales of the United Kingdom, His Excellency David Cameron, Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, and His Excellency Dr. Nabil Al-Arabi, Secretary General of the Arab Countries League. On behalf of His Majesty Sultan Qaboos, His Highness Sayyid As'ad bin Tariq Al Saeed participated in the final session of the 26th Ordinary Arab Summit in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt. The announcements of Sharm el-Sheikh called on the international community for solidarity and to support Arab efforts in confronting terrorism. The announcement also stressed on strengthening intra-cooperation among Arab countries, preserving Arab national security, and confronting challenges that face Arab nations. The summit has approved in principle the formation of a joint Arab military force and to establish a high-level team of chiefs of staff of armed forces of the Arab countries to discuss issues concerned with establishing that force. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi of Egypt said that the Arab leaders have decided to approve a principle of forming a joint Arab military force and a high-level team under the supervision of chiefs of staffs of armed forces of the Arab member countries to discuss all aspects related to setting up the Arab force and its forming. Dr. Nabil Al-Arabi, Secretary General of the Arab Countries League, said that Arab economic integration is part of Arab national security and requirements of the customs union should be completed, hoping that it will be done this year. He also added that there are technical matters related to certificates of the origin, as some countries have some particular situation in this matter. He also said that there are security threats and economic threats and should be looked into as they are completing each other. On behalf of His Majesty Sultan Qaboos, His Highness Sayyid As'ad bin Tariq Al Saeed delivered the Sultanate speech at this 26th Arab Summit in the Egyptian city of Sharm el-Sheikh. His Highness emphasized the importance of solidarity and constructive dialogue among the brothers to come up with a joint vision and compatible solutions to deal with problems being witnessed by the region. He said this summit is being held at a time the region is witnessing an acute, exceptional circumstances that affected and still affecting negatively on its security, stability and social cohesion, which made it imperative to exert more efforts to come up of these turbulent conditions and to deal wisely with all political, economic, security and social challenges. At these circumstances, the Sultanate of Oman reiterates the importance of solidarity and constructive dialogue among the brothers. He also said, as the Sultanate is emphasizing its firm stance of necessity to combat terrorism by its all means and forms, regardless to its reasons and objectives. It is a strange phenomenon to the societies and the nation. It had increased recently in a way that it is threatening security and stability of the countries of the region to the extent that it is necessitates solidarity to face, to stem out, to follow up and to deal with its reasons. His Highness also said even though the region is witnessing complex circumstances, numerous crises and countless challenges, but that will not make us forget the first question, the Palestinian issue, which is the cornerstone to any peace in the Middle East, calling to find a fair and comprehensive solution in order to regain the just rights for the Palestinian people, which will guarantee establishing of an independent Palestinian state with East Jerusalem as its capital in accordance with the related international decisions. Before the Arab Summit, His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi of Egypt forwarded congratulations on the return of His Majesty the Sultan healthy to the homeland. He said on his behalf and on behalf of the Egyptian people, his sincere greetings to the brothers in Oman for the recovery of His Majesty Sultan Qaboos and his safe return to his country. His Highness Sayyid As'ad bin Tariq Al Saeed, representative of His Majesty the Sultan, met at the International Convention Center in Sharm el-Sheikh last night with His Excellency President Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud of Somalia. During the meeting, they exchanged cordial talks and discussed a number of topics of mutual concern. Beside a number of current developments on the Arab arena, the meeting was attended by His Excellency Yusuf bin Alawi bin Abdullah, Minister responsible for Foreign Affairs, and His Excellency Sheikh Mohammed Saeed Al-Kalbani, Minister of Social Development, and a number of senior officials from the Somalian side. The Sultanate's celebrations continued on the occasion of His Majesty the Sultan's safe return to the homeland. In the wilayas of Al-Hamra, Manah and Adam, in the governorate of Al-Dakhliya, the citizens organized a national procession rejoicing the return of His Majesty Sultan Qaboos to the country. They expressed their sincere greetings and prayed to Almighty Allah to protect His Majesty as the guardian of this country and its people. The citizens of the Wilaya of Dama wa Tayin celebrated His Majesty's return. They went in a huge procession amid happiness and meanings of loyal and gratitude. The procession started from the Wilaya's hospital and ended near the office of the Wilaya. It was also accompanied by Omani traditional arts and poems. In the wilayas of Sadah and Mirbat, in the governorate of Dhafar, the citizens went in procession expressing happiness and joy for the safe return of His Majesty Sultan Qaboos, renewing allegiance and gratitude. Citizens in the Wilaya of Khasab also organized a procession of joy and loyalty expressing their happiness of His Majesty's return safe. It witnessed a participation from men, women, children, as well as school students. The procession started from the Sultan Qaboos Mosque in the Wilaya and ended at the Wali's office. In a loyalty and gratitude procession in the Wilaya of Saham, the citizens took to the streets with the Sultanate's flag hoisting as traditional bands singing arts, praying to Almighty to protect His Majesty and endue him with good health. In the governorate of South Sharqiya, the citizens of the wilayas of Al-Kamil, Wal-Wafi and Ja'lan Bani Bu Hassan held a procession of allegiance and gratitude to continue celebrating the safe return of His Majesty the Sultan to the homeland. It witnessed a huge participation from members of the society, including men, women and children, cheering sincere greetings and best wishes to His Majesty, the beloved leader. In contributing with the happiness of the citizens for His Majesty's safe return, the citizens in the Wilaya of Barka at the Governorate of South Al-Batina organized a traditional singing arts festival to express their sincere feelings and overwhelming happiness. Meanwhile, a local camel race was also organized in the Wilaya, accompanied by singing arts and a huge participation from members of the society and camel breeders. At the end of the race, the winners were honored. With a cost of more than 100 million Omani riyals, the Minister of Regional Municipalities and Water Resources signed a number of agreements to implement projects of paving interior roads at various governorates of the Sultanate and industrial areas. The agreement stated to implement projects of paving roads reached more than 925 kilometers. The agreements were signed from the ministry's side by His Excellency Ahmed bin Abdullah Shihi, Minister of Regional Municipalities and Water Resources. These projects will contribute in connecting villages and cities to facilitate movement and limit the cost of trade movement. Discussing aspects of joint cooperation between the Public Authority for Radio and Television part with Chinese Central Television topped the discussions of His Excellency Dr. Abdullah bin Nasser al-Harrasi, Chairman of the Authority, with His Excellency Hu Chia-fan, Chairman of the Chinese Central Television, who is on a visit to the Sultanate. The delegation visited the digital studios of part, where His Excellency, the Chinese official, expressed his admiration of modern techniques operated by young Omani cadres. The visit of the Chinese delegation coincides with the Sultanate's celebration of His Majesty's safe return to the homeland. Within the aim to highlight the most important cybersecurity development and security risk in the IT field, activities of Regional Cybersecurity Summit for IT security started in Muscat under the theme Future of Cybersecurity and IT Safety. The two-day summit was presided over by His Highness Sayyid Taimur bin Asad Al Saeed, Assistant Secretary General of International Relations in Research Council. It discussed challenges of computer safety, developing national abilities in cybersecurity field, getting acquainted with volume of security risks and ways to deal with them. More than 300 specialists from governmental and private authorities attended the summit. A group of specialists in cybersecurity field from inside and outside the Sultanate presented paperwork in this summit. Central Bank of Oman is preparing special law for payment security to issue it this year. It was announced by His Excellency Hamoud bin Sangur al-Zidgali, Executive President of Central Bank of Oman. He said that the bank supervised on many programs of e-payment programs and transferring between banks, adding that the law is in preparation stage and will enter legal procedures for issuing. Dr. Salim bin Sultan al-Ruzaiqi, Chief Executive Officer of Information Technology Authority ITA, stated that there is a governmental strategy for the IT security, including establishing specialized administrative departments in the government institutions. He added that there is also a plan to be implemented in this field between ITA and the government institutions. E-systems for customer services changing in smart services, the project of customer service whole and strategic planning for it highlighted aspects discussed at the first Gulf Forum, which was inaugurated in Muscat. The forum, entitled by Future Vision and Inauguration for Changing Customer Services System. During the forum, Customer Services Office in Dubai, honored as Best Customer Services Office in the Gulf Cooperation Council countries. The two-day forum will discuss also the impact of judicial subpoena on collection system in addition to reading meter and billing, besides the project of prepaid meters. The draft law of the Institute of Public Administration and its suggested legal articles was discussed by the Board of Directors of the Institute in its first meeting of the year. The meeting also discussed creating some organizational divisions at the Institute, in addition to reviewing aspects of cooperation between the Institute and Middle East and North Africa Research Network, as well as the European Group for Public Administration, beside the Institute's role in organizing Euromina conference due to be held in the Sultanate. The meeting was presided over by His Excellency Sheikh Khalid bin Omar Al Marhoon, Minister of Civil Service and Head of the Board of Directors of the Institute. In order to improve services that the Ministry of Social Development provide to the elderly, the ministry established a department to take care of this important segment in the society. The department specializes in enhancing the role of the elderly, their status in society, and enabling them to participate in the public life through strengthening principle of partnership and integrated work among all governmental service, civil and private sectors, as well as elderly families. The department will enable Ministry of Social Development to prepare plans and national programs for elderly and follow up for their implementation, including home care program and studying the needs of working human cadres in this field, as well as providing comprehensive statistics database about the elderly in the Sultanate. You're watching the Sultanate of Oman television, and before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. On behalf of His Majesty Sultan Qaboos, His Highness Sayyid As'ad bin Tariq Al Saeed participates in the final session of the Arab Summit. The Sultanate in the 26th Arab Summit emphasizes the importance of constructive dialogue to come up with compatible solutions to deal with problems being witnessed by the region. The Sultanate's celebration continues on the occasion of His Majesty the Sultan's safe return to the homeland. And finally, a number of agreements worth more than 100 million Omani riyals are signed to implement projects of paving interior roads in the Sultanate. With that, we come to an end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the newsroom and the studios, it's good night.